Hello guys, welcome back to another video, another day, another Manchester City exit. Apparently we're all for sale at the moment. I'm for sale, you're for sale, the kit man's for sale, Pete the Badge is for sale, I don't know, Mike Summerby's for sale. Everyone is for sale apparently in Manchester City Football Club. And it looks like today's turn is Romeo Lavia. Unfortunately, this is breaking news that I did not expect to be talking about today, but this feels like the wild transfer window when everything gets shaken up and the world goes absolutely crazy. Hello to everyone joining this video. Please do me a massive favor. As always, please do hit that like button. Please do hit that subscribe button as well. It would be hugely appreciated if you don't mind. Of course, also do yourself a massive favor. Go and download OneFootball right now. Scan that QR code next to my face right there, or click the link in the description below. And this is where you get all your breaking news about all these transfers going on right now, because it's so hard to keep up to date with it. Get one app and get it all in one perfect, beautiful little hub. You can get news about every team, every player, and every goal from across the world of football. It's where I keep up to date with all your Manchester City news and all that kind of stuff. It's dead useful. The amount of times I get notifications and I had no idea something was happening is off the charts. So download it, help support my channel, get the best football app on the market, bar absolutely none, and you will not regret it. Scan that QR code. Click the link in the description. Do it. So, we're going to talk about all these players at the bottom today. Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Zack Steffen, Ortega, that goalkeeper, Romeo Lavia, and we're going to talk about CJ Egan-Riley. But we'll start with this guy. Put him in the corner, Romeo Lavia. Right. So, let me just find the bit of breaking news for you. I'll jump over to the aggregators and show you what's going on in the world of Manchester City and so on. So I'll jump over here. Where is it? Let me get it up on screen. I always forget to do this beforehand. I'm an idiot. So there we go. This comes from Sam Lee. It says, breaking, Southampton were close to completing a permanent deal to sign Romeo Lavia. City will have the option to buy back the midfielder. It's suggested from TalkSport, allegedly, whatever that means, that it's going to be a package around £10 million, which is interesting. I've been reading Sam's article as well about it, and according to City, they see it as a good way to offset essentially his lack of chances, given the fact that Calvin Phillips is coming in. I think it's fair to say that's sort of obvious, really. If Calvin Phillips comes in, and we've got Rodri as well, Romeo Lavia isn't getting any game time anytime soon. He just isn't. It doesn't feel likely, does it? I think we all understand that. Now, Harrison's having a good day in the chat there, crying, convulsing, and on my knees. Thanks. Oh, son's crying. Cheers. It's that. Cheers, son's crying. It's that kind of level, isn't it? Now, according to suggestions, City are doing this with the idea of a backup clause, a buyback clause, with the idea that he goes to Southampton, a team that's got a good reputation for developing players, to be fair. Livramento's doing really well there. Brozier had a good season as well, of course. And the idea is that he goes there and Manchester City go to Southampton. Please turn him into a top quality player and we'll buy him back one day. I mean, it's relatively smart. I mean, essentially, we are paying for a developmental loan if you look at it that way. I mean, it sort of makes sense. I mean, we've also got the issue, really, that there's these loan rules coming in, isn't there, where you can't you can only have a certain amount of players out on loan at the same time. Someone correct me in the chat if you want to, because I can't remember how right or wrong I am about this, but there is new changes coming in, so you can't really loan out a whole bunch of players. And I think it's really obvious now that for probably like a year and a bit, like Romeo Lavia has been too good for EDS football. And he's only 18 years old. He doesn't actually turn 19 until January. So he's really, really, really young still. And I already feel like his development has stalled, which says great, which is mad. I actually feel like his season last year, and I mean this with the greatest respect, because Romeo, if you're watching this, mate, I think you're a fantastic footballer. But personally, I feel like his season before last was actually better. Maybe it became a bit too easy for him at EDS level, but I actually feel like a year and a bit ago, he was playing better for the EDS. And last season, he probably treaded water a little bit, which is understandable. Of course, a couple of first-team appearances here and there. But I don't really think his development was helped by hanging around the EDS for another year, even though he was only 17 for most of the season. It just feels it felt a little bit like he needed some first team football. Now I understand why Guardiola wants a senior player in someone like Calvin Phillips, who of course is a lot more likely to not be flustered by the big occasion than an 18-year-old. I get that, I actually get it, but at the same time we've got this black hole of a situation where we've got to give him game time, we've got to see him develop, but at the same time he wants to have senior players like Rodri and Phillips there. I understand it, so maybe it's just the fact that it's a year too soon, or maybe he needed a loan or something like that. But now the fact that we've got, there we go, a double in the chat said 6 loans per season, not including players under 21 and club trained. Oh, is that okay? So I don't know actually. Is it? Brillo said it's 8. I don't know. But I know the loan rules are changing. And to be honest, I feel like Lavia probably understands that he's probably not going to play much this season in the first team. It's that hard to get in the first team at Manchester City that I understand it. So in terms of the actual transfer target, I mean, let's put him right in the middle there. This seems very, very likely. I trust Sam on this. It's so out of the blue that it seems true, if that makes sense. You know, when something that seems so random and unexpected that you almost can't deny it. Like this to me seems like that. I think Lavia is actually going, unfortunately, and I think this one is probably relatively close to happening. The fee itself, it says up to £10 million. That's come from various sources. I don't know how reliable that is, but I mean, I don't know what the buyback would be. But imagine, I'm just going to randomly throw numbers around here. So, well, it works for football Twitter, so why not do it here as well at the same time? But just imagine that we sold him for around 10 million-ish. We had a buyback of around 25 million in a couple of years from now. So, essentially, we end up buying him back for around 15 million net after he established himself as a top-quality Premier League midfielder. It's not that bad a deal, really. You would pay $7.5 million for 2 seasons to develop him, wouldn't you, to get him to that level? So that's how it is, really, and I understand the logic behind it. Now, apparently City feel, according to Sam's article, that if they show pathways to these young players and get them good moves and so on, that they will be willing to come back one day if they feel like they'll get game time. And I actually think this is relatively smart. If they're honest with players and they're honest about the pathways and development, and they get them a good move like Lavia is allegedly getting here to Southampton, that's a good move in the Premier League, then I feel like they'll trust the club still, and they will come back if they feel that they're ready for it. Maybe he just sort of got caught in the middle here a little bit, man. I'm disappointed because I really, 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 really rate him, but I do understand that he's probably not quite first team level yet. Maybe if he'd hung around, he would get there, but I understand why Guardiola would rather have the experience right now. I just get it, unfortunately, and I mean, I don't know what the buyback would be, Martin, but in the chat there, but I would guess it wouldn't be extortionate. I don't think City are going to do a buyback of 40 million for Romeo Lavia, an 18-year-old, do you? It's not going to be that high, because why would it be? Why would it be? I can't see it personally. It's interesting to know as well that, of course, we sold Bazuna to Southampton as well. So, obviously, that dialogue's been open there. And it's interesting as well that Joe Shields, City's chief of scouting at the academy, is reportedly being lined up for Southampton's essentially chief scout job. So, he's going from academy scout to a first team scout for Southampton. And I know Joe Shields personally. Joe is a lovely fella who absolutely is passionate about youth football and has an incredible eye for young talents and prospects. And if he's joining Southampton, this is just a guess here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's saying, get that one if you can, by the way. I'm coming soon, but get that one over there, Romeo, because he's brilliant. So it's difficult, but at the same time, it could be decent business, and it probably is sensible business. I want him to stay, of course I do. But, it's very, very hard to keep all these players happy in the EDS. It just is, man. It just is. It's very, very difficult. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. Let's get those likes up if you don't mind, and hit the subscribe button while you're at it as well. It's interesting, isn't it? It's very, very interesting. It's a bit of a disappointment, if I'm being honest, but I understand it. And to be honest, I'm not sure if it goes as well as they want. Look, would any of us be bothered if it was a 2-year loan? How would you all feel? Let me know in the chat. Would you be bothered if it was a 2-year loan? I'm not sure I would be. And that's the difference. And I guess maybe City will see it as that, potentially. As a way to potentially get him to that level required and then buy him back. And they're paying for the development and loan. But, we know money's nothing to Man City, really, largely. Dylan reckons it's a great deal. Fair enough. That's interesting. Yeah, fair enough, mate. I respect that. It'll be interesting to see. Someone said, I think McAtee should go on loan. I heard a little rumour that McAtee and Palmer have been told they're the ones to get the game time if Sterling goes. And it's up to him, basically, if he wants to go or not. I think if Sterling goes, he should hang around because I do think he will get chances, and I would really like that. That's a little rumour I heard anyway. So that's where we're at, basically, with Lavia. It's disappointing. Another young player moving on. But this might be the way that we do it now. Buybacks, you know. That might be the modern way that big clubs hoard young players. Get them on their side. See if they go somewhere else. Let someone else do the hard work, essentially. And then sign him back for a load of money. And let's be honest, we can afford it. So he's not going to get any. He's not going to get any first team football anytime soon, is he? Unfortunately. So that's how it feels. Yeah, Brillo, I don't think we are signing anyone if Sterling goes. I think that's been reported by plenty of journalists, and I believe it's actually true as well, I think. We'll see. So I'll go to Egan-Riley next. CJ. Now, the reports on CJ, let me find it, suggest that he's actually joining on a free transfer. So apparently his contract expires tomorrow and City will get compensation, and the two clubs have come to an agreement. So Egan-Riley's actually going to Burnley on a free transfer. I had no idea. I mean, this one right here, again, I'm going to put him right down there. I think it's pretty much done as well. I'll put him right in the middle, probably even more in the middle, CJ. I think that's basically done. It's not exactly a big secret. I feel like basically he's going to Burnley on a free transfer. Fair enough. I mean, if I was a young defender and I had a chance to train with Manchester City's probably greatest ever defender in Vincent Kompany, I probably would take it. While at the same time getting to go a club as big as Burnley, and Burnley are a big club. They of course are, years in the Premier League. And also not moving far away from home, it makes an awful lot of sense for him. So I get it, basically, for CJ Egan-Riley. My thoughts on CJ, and once again, I'm a big CJ fan, is that I feel like he probably didn't quite have it right now to get in the first team Manchester City. Nominally a centre-back, but he's played, of course, at right-back for the first team. And he did a good job. He did a good job, man. He's steady. But I sometimes feel like he lacks a standout attribute, and I don't mean this negatively, because there's so many players that have great Premier League careers when they're just reliable all-rounders, and maybe that's what CJ's going to be, and maybe actually he becomes just a really good centre-back and he actually proves me wrong. But I've never really got the sense that he's going to be world-class. And I don't mean that in a negative way, sorry mate if you're watching, but I just mean like, I think he's a good player. Is he a Manchester City player? Probably not. And I feel like I understand why Guardiola trusts him and rates him, but I get it at the same time when he wants to go and play for Burnley. Because, look, I mean this with the greatest respect. Look at someone like Ben Mee, who's basically made a career out of being really reliable and really solid. And he was a Premier League player for so long with Burnley. And like, I would not be surprised if CJ has a career like that, which is an excellent career, a solid Premier League player, really underrated and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully he does, man, because that's a hell of a career. I feel like that personally is where I see him. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh there, but that's sort of like, maybe that's where I see him. But maybe he goes higher than that, and prove me wrong, mate. But he's a really good footballer, CJ, so hopefully he does really well. Like Trippier, people like that. Yeah, maybe, yeah, that's a good example, you know? Maybe he does it as well. On to the next one. Harwood-Bellis is an interesting one. Of course, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, I'm going to put around here because it looks like he's about to join on loan as well to Burnley, according to the reports. Now, it's interesting for Taylor because he's going to join on a season-long loan, but of course, he was at Anderlecht with Vinny, and then he left to join Stoke on loan because he didn't get enough first-team football. But now Vinny's taking him back, which is very, very interesting. So I can only presume that maybe it was homesickness or something like that. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to go and play back in England or something like that. But Taylor Harwood-Bellis is allegedly going to go to Thingy on loan. Now, this is interesting because Taylor is another at a rate that I also feel relatively similar. I think he's good, but I'm not sure he'll quite get to Manchester City's level. But you never know, man. You never know. He might actually do it. And you've got to bear in mind, he does seem to do really well, you know, especially at the Championship level. He's done really well there. And he captains, of course, England under 21. So he's got a lot of credit in his bank. You know, he's a good player. Let's see how he gets on at Burnley. And let's see, you know, if they get up, then maybe he comes back as a Premier League starter for them, for Burnley. And look, I wonder if people like CJ and Harwood-Bellis, if they are going to be those players like Tosin Adarabioyo, where they're clearly good players, they get in the Premier League sometimes in the Championship. I don't know. We'll see. But I like it, Harwood-Bellis. He's a good player, and I like all these. I feel like Lavia's got the highest ceiling out of all these three we're talking about right now, but we'll have to see how it goes, man. Let's see how it goes with Tommy Doyle as well. Bill Stokes in the chat has just mentioned Tommy Doyle, and just to see how Tommy Doyle gets on. He was fantastic at Cardiff. I wonder where he's going to go on loan, because I really rate Tommy. I think he's better than we realise, actually. He was great for England the other day as well, for the under-20s, was it? I think it was. He was great. Jammer's asked, was he better than Callum Doyle? I think Callum's probably got a little bit more going for him than these two guys, personally. I think mainly because he's got a little bit more of a ping on his pass, and he's a little bit faster when he gets going. He reminds me a lot more of Laporte, Callum Doyle. I think Mbete and Doyle are the ones, Callum Doyle are the ones that I would say excite me the most at centre-back. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how they all get on. On to Zack Steffen. Steffen looks like he's about to join, I'll put him round about there, Middlesbrough on loan, according to some reports. Of course, I think it's pretty much documented that he wants to go to get some first-team football. I mean, I think it's because he wants to... this has come from the MEN, by the way. So it's who was it? It was Ty Marshall at the MEN. Yeah, Tyrone Marshall, who said that he's going to join Middlesbrough on loan, and I think that's probably true as well. We all know that he's probably not right for Manchester City. Zack Steffen, he's a good keeper, and we also know that if he plays regularly for Middlesbrough, it's probably enough for him to get him the World Cup and actually start there for him. So I get it. I get his intentions, and I also think it's a good move for him. Championship, good level. He'll do well there. Dylan asking, is there any news about the Lap loan? Not that I've seen, mate, and I'm sure we'll probably hear something. We'll see about that. Let's see if he gets sold as well, another one. Probably to Brighton for 15 million or something like that. Who knows? We'll see. So, Steffen's going on loan, and yeah, I respect it, and I think it's the right call. And then we get to a man that I've not actually talked about yet on my channel, Stefan Ortega. I don't even know much about Stefan Ortega. Of course, I know a lot what you guys have been talking about. He's 29 years old, been at Arminia Bielefeld. I always pronounce that incorrectly. And it looks like he's pretty much bang on to join Man City as well. So I've got him round about there. So that looks like it's going to happen on a free transfer tomorrow. He's really, really, really rated, actually. He did a little note on his Instagram saying goodbye to the Armenia fans. He was there for an awful long time. Obviously, rated as one of the best keepers, genuinely, in the Bundesliga. I didn't know about him. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know much about him until City were linked to him a week or so ago. The circle is full. It is, Erden. Everything's happening, man. It's a fire sale. But Ortega looks like he's coming in. And I'm quite excited by this guy. I genuinely am, actually, because I feel like it's going to be interesting to have a keeper that potentially could challenge Ederson a little bit more than Steffen does. Now, according to people who know a lot more about the Bundesliga than me, he's a fantastic shot stopper, and he's actually good with his feet. Is he Ederson good with his feet? No. I've looked around and done some research. He isn't. But he's a little bit better than his feet than Steffen, and he's probably more like Claudio Bravo level with his feet, I reckon. But Bravo was good with his feet, but he wasn't Ederson. He looks more along that kind of lines, and he's a fantastic shot stopper. I probably would go as far as saying he looks like a more natural shot stopper than Ederson. Sorry, based off YouTube highlights. So I could be talking bullshit here, man. He could have something that goes through his hands and all that kind of stuff, but he looks like he's a really good natural shot stopper. People saying 99 ball distribution. What is that on FIFA or something like that? But, he looks like a good player. Jenny looks like a good player. Of course, as well, Armenia were struggling in the Bundesliga, one of the worst teams in that league. So, of course, you have more shots to save, and all that kind of stuff. And you have a lot more to do, which, of course, helps goalkeepers because they're sharper and all this kind of stuff. I still think Ederson's a number one by some way, but I think it's interesting that he's coming. I think he's not stupid. I think he understands that maybe Ederson's coming off of the back of an average season by his standards, and I think he'll probably fancy his chances here. He seems to be a good all-round goalkeeper, highly rated, that allegedly Bayern was sniffing around at some point, which is interesting. So we'll have to see how he gets on at Manchester City, but it's nice to see someone come in who's a little bit, who's got a little bit of something about them, who could challenge Ederson, and maybe surprise us a tiny bit, It's also good that I feel like he's good with his feet. He's a good shot stopper. He's a good age as well, Ortega. And we'll see exactly how he gets on, won't we? We'll see how he gets on when he comes to Man City. A good goalkeeper with a lot of ability, allegedly. And an unexpected signing, which I always do enjoy. You got to love an unexpected signing. So we're going to make an awful lot of money, basically, this summer with transfers going out, aren't we? We're selling, like, Ake and Sterling and everyone else allegedly. Go watch yesterday's video if you want to talk about that. Who knows, man? But all I know is right now there is a fire sale at Manchester City. And it looks like players are leaving left, right, and centre, man. 10 million for Lavia allegedly is interesting, but we'll see how that goes. I'll edit the thumbnail a bit, actually, not the thumbnail, the start of the video, because it's not clear. So that'll be interesting to see how it goes, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, we are doing an awful lot of transfers at the moment. The squad is being shaken up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes, because it's going to be interesting to see how the squad looks next season. Young players moving on. It's interesting to see, isn't it? It's very interesting to see. Yeah, I don't know how to make of it. I don't know how I feel of it. Maybe we are just net spend FC Alfie. Maybe we are. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of with Bill a little bit. It's a bit unnerving. Adozzi's going as well, you know, to Bayern Leverkusen. They're all going. Darko Giabi, you know, Jesus going, more or less gone. It's interesting. I guess we're letting the young players go because we can't really guarantee them first team Football League. And I guess they've got buybacks and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if we'll have a buyback with Adozzi or not. But I'll have to see. I think it's interesting. Yeah, I know he did, Jammer. I think it's interesting that that McAtee and Palmer might hang around, because that's a good sign if they do. I think Palmer, by the way, is genuinely in. Like, I feel like Palmer is in the first team. Like, I know he didn't play much towards the end of the season, but I feel like injuries are a big part of that. But I do feel like there's a trust level there with Guardiola and Palmer. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I do feel like we trust him. And McAtee, I feel like we trust him too, but we can't promise him anything. I hope if we don't replace Sterling, which I think we should do, but if we don't, I feel like we should keep him. Basically, if we don't replace Sterling, I feel like we should keep McAtee and Palmer around. And I'm expecting them to both get a decent bit of game time. Maybe Palmer does get the 25, 30 games next season, but then maybe McAtee gets what Palmer would have got this season, the 10 games or something like that. And if he gets time on the pitch, McAtee, I think he'll be happy with 10 to 15 games this season. I think he could get that as well. Bluey in the chat saying it's time for Carlos Borges to shine. He's really good, by the way. I actually feel like, in terms of Man City profile wingers, the two who played for the under-18s last season, Carlos Borges, Portuguese winger, and Dian Mabude, they're absolutely, definitely suited for the profile that Manchester City want. They're absolute pace merchants. They're so fast, so good at getting behind defenders and all that kind of stuff. So they are pure pace on another level, those two, Borges and Bude. So hopefully they really impress in pre-season or something like that. The pre-season squad's going to be really interesting. We're only like 2 or 3 weeks away now, actually, from the pre-season games. 3 weeks away, and I can't wait for them personally. Has Cakey been good? Yeah, he's been pretty good. I wouldn't say he's been good as Palmer, but yeah, I wouldn't say Cakey's close to the first team personally, but I think he'll hang around, probably be on loan. Hang around in the EDS for another year. So we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, to me, the ones to watch for the wingers are Borges and Mambude. They're quality, man. And as Jammers pointed out in the chat as well, we do have 5 subs next season. Guardiola likely won't use them, but I do hope if we're winning games comfortably and we do have the likes of McAtee and Palmer on the bench every single week, which is likely, you know, we could do. I do hope Guardiola will put them on, because why the fuck not, man? Weirdly, I feel like even though we had 3 subs and he barely used them, I do feel like he's more likely to use subs with 5. It'd be great, man. It'd be great. I don't feel like we should be letting any players get tired. And if you get to 2-0, 3-0, bring on the young attackers, man. Is Oscar Bob fast? I wouldn't say he's lightning quick, no. He's more like a... No, he's not fast, I would say. But he's got a good darting, kind of jinxing kind of pace, if that makes sense. Like, more in the way that McAtee and Palmer do. Like, he's more that level where he can beat someone. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's fast. But he's not slow either at the same time. Bob is he's very agile. I think that's a good way of putting him. He's changing directions really good. He can jink a little bit like Bernardo when Bernardo's off that. But he's a good player, Bob. I really like him. He's another one that'll probably be looking for some kind of move, you know, now. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Because Oscar Bob how old is he now? Oscar Bob was excellent last year, by the way. He's 18 years old. He turns 19 in about 2 weeks, Oscar Bob. So he's another one that will probably be considering his future a little bit, you know, because he's probably not going to get in the first team, but he might fancy being a star of the EDS next season, one of the senior players there. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Because obviously it's all changed this summer. And I'll have to see. We'll have to see. He just signed a new deal, Oscar Bob. He did actually, you're right. But I mean, I guess, yeah, no, that's fair. To be honest, I forgot about that, so I stand corrected. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get a loan or something like that, maybe. Seamus reckons Mbete could step up if Ake leaves. Look, I really, really rate Mbete, but I would like a senior centre-back, even if it's just an old geezer, you know what I mean? But only because I feel like it's... Look what happened last season when we needed Ake against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Guardiola is not turning into Mbete in that point, is he? He isn't, and probably rightfully so, because you do need experience. And because football is often, it's just as much about here as his ability. And you don't get what's between here until you're experienced and so on. And Mbete is a really good footballer, but he hasn't got that years of experience that you need to manage a situation like that against Atletico. So I understand why Guardiola... Look, if Mbete was on the bench, he'd put Phillips at centre-back and Rodri at centre-back before Mbete. I think we all know this if it came to a big situation. So... I don't think Ake should go personally, but at the same time, if he does go, we have to replace him. Because what happens then? We can turn around and go, yeah, but Rodri could step in there, and he could. That means then we have to play Phillips, and then what if Phillips gets an injury or gets tired? And we have to. The longer you do this, the more players get dragged down that position, and the more likely they are to get injuries, and the more then other positions get stretched, and it just happens. There's a knock-on effect. We can't. Pretend that it wouldn't be negatives. There just would be, man. That's how these things work. Please God, no, the Johnny Evans position. Yeah, Johnny Evans wouldn't be on the... That's the profile, man. That's the profile. I can just about accept a lack of Sterling replacement. I feel like we're pushing it a little bit there, but I can accept it. I can't accept a lack of Ake. Personally, look, when it comes to the forward line, I feel like we've got enough players to botch a winger with Grealish, Foden, Palmer, Mahrez. Bernardo can play out there. Alvarez can probably do a job out there. We could, I feel like overall we've got enough. We could push Cancelo further forward. We could botch it, but I don't want to botch the centre back position because then it affects the defensive midfield position and so on. It isn't perfect with no Sterling replacement, but I do think we could get away with that a little bit because we're still defensively stable. Look, I feel like largely, as long as the midfield and the defence is stable, we'll be okay and we'll make chances because we always do. But I don't want to mess with the defence because the first time in ages, City's defence is absolutely solid and it's really solid, genuinely. And I don't want to mess with that, man. I don't want to mess with it because I don't think it's any coincidence that when Kompany went and we had that shambles of a back line, City fell apart. People said to me a few times in the chat, oh yeah, but we know what happened when Kompany goes in relation to Sterling. But I've always countered that with saying you can't compare Sterling's position to Kompany's. With Kompany going meant the whole defence fell apart. Sterling going doesn't mean the forward line falls apart. It means we have a lack of an option. But the defence is your back rock of the team, man. You've got to be solid at the back. And that, to me, is where we can't go wrong. We can't go wrong there. We have to get it right. So, that's how I feel about all this. Either way, it's really interesting, isn't it? Guys, 400 people watching and 80 odd likes. Come on, we can do better. We can do better as a team. Let's get to 62,100 subscribers as well. I need one more subscriber. Come on, we can do it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Let them fly up. And you're all beautiful. And you're all wonderful. So, yeah, I feel basically with basically a lack of... This season we've had, thanks for the likes by the way, it's really appreciated. They're going up now, it's nice to see. But given this season we played midfielders and wingers through the middle, there's one less role available for that now, so it means we probably can take one less wide player. Yeah, we got the 100 likes, 100 subscribers as well, 60,000. Thank you, appreciate it. So I feel like basically if we're gonna need one less forward because we've got two strikers. I get it. So we'll have to see. Yeah, I agree Palmer isn't experienced, but weirdly, I feel experience matters more. It does matter more, I'm sorry. But experience matters more as a defender than it does for a forward. You're right, by the way, and I know I've talked myself into a hole there, but I do. That's my personal belief is I think it's easier for a young attacker to make it than it is of a young defender because it's just so much more pressured. And it doesn't matter if a young forward hits a cross. He's not going to concede a goal for us, you know what I mean? So basically, it's easy to make a mistake in the forward line and not cost. Mbete misreads a pass or plays a pass wrong, they're through and goal and we're going to concede. So it's so hard to get through as a young defender. It's really hard. Would I take Neymar, Jay? Yeah, everyone forgets they can like live stream. So like the live stream. It does actually help the channel. It helps the algorithm, which means more people find the videos, which helps the channel. So do that, please. But would I take Neymar, Jay? I feel like Neymar's a bit of an egotistical person, and I don't really like Neymar. I don't think he's the kind of profile that we should be trying to sign. And what I mean by that is a guy who's injury prone a lot, a guy he's a little bitch, if we're being honest. You know, best way I can put the Neymar is to say he's a little bit of a bitch. Is he a quality player though? Yes, he is. He's an absolutely ridiculously good player. He really is, and it's one of those where I wouldn't try and sign him. But if he came to Manchester City, I'd be like, it's pretty good, to be fair. Like, we'd all enjoy him being there as a footballer because he's ridiculously good. So, as much as I don't feel like he's the kind of player we should be going after now, at the same time, if he came, he's a superstar. I don't know what he's like to manage. I don't know what he's like. He did leave Barcelona because he didn't like being in Messi's shadow. I mean, that's pretty much documented. He wanted to be the main man. I mean, why would you leave Messi and Suarez? He was part of the greatest forward line to ever exist, pretty much, and he left because he wanted to be the main man. Like, it didn't feel right for me. It felt a bit stupid. It felt egotistical, and that's always been a part of his game. Like, he's obviously a world-class player. Like, he's stupidly good. I've got no doubt he'd be immensely effective. But how much would he roll around in the Premier League? An awful lot. That wouldn't be our problem, but we'll have to see. So that's how I feel, man. A bit of an ego. Injury prone, wrong side of 30 now. But if he came, I'd be like, it's fucking Neymar. And tell you what, I'd be putting in thumbnails constantly because he's a superstar on another level. Absolutely is a superstar, and we'd get an awful lot of money. So, yeah. The only thing I would say about Neymar that worries me is that he said recently, like, he's going to quit international football at the age of 30, last World Cup, because he's sort of falling out of love with football a bit, and that to me doesn't strike me as someone who, you know, we should be going after. I do get the impression that Neymar is just all vibes these days. Like, he doesn't seem that serious, does he? And maybe I'm being a bit harsh there, but does anyone else get that impression as well? Like, I mean, on a loan deal, that'd be interesting. E-double. That'd be very interesting. Someone just said that in the chat, a loan deal. That'd be very interesting. But yeah, I often feel like he's sort of fallen out of love football, so we'll have to see how he goes there. But anyway, it doesn't matter because we're selling all our young players, and that's what's going on. So, guys, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to go and have some lunch because I'm absolutely starving. I feel like we've got someone turning up to do some work at the house very soon. Don't know when, but I did a risky live video hoping they wouldn't turn up, and I think we got away with it. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you make of all these transfers over here. These guys, where are they going? Put them all back down there. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on, isn't it? Because they're all very, very good footballers, and wish them all the best. Either leaving Man City or joining with Ortega. Be interesting. Guys, thanks for watching this. Don't forget to like this video. Please do download OneFootball. It does help support the channel massively. You can scan that QR code next to my face there. Or you can click the link in the description. For now, though, have a wonderful evening. You're all beautiful. Have a good afternoon. I'll see Foles tonight in Manchester, and I can't wait. So if anyone's watching this and going to see Foles, hunt me down at Castlefield Bowl. I can't wait. It's going to be a wonderful gig tonight. Subscribe, like, comment. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.